fixed.
That's
Then
right.
we'll put that on our list. We need to fix the,
That's right.
Clock.
Well, really, it's.
It's got to change this weekend anyways, right?
yeah.
It's pretty, he's ready.
Yeah, I got 6 o'clock.
Okay, I'd like to call the October 30th Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Mr. Pinio, do we have any need for a non-public?
Madam Chairperson, we do not.
Perfect. First items on the agenda is the revenues for park and recreation. We have 3 sheets of paper, and which one do you want to start with?
Why don't we start with the program revenue and participants 2024?
Okay,
So you see there's one full list. That's just showing all of our programs. And then on the reverse side, it is breaking it off what is actually going to the general fund and what is in the revolving fund. And this is showing revenues, it's not showing expenses, so it's just showing what we took in, not necessarily what we actually kept after expenses.
and do you want to just, because there are people watching at home, what goes into the revolving fund and how that works?
Sure. So the revolving, so why don't I start with the general fund first? So the general fund is the budget, and we have specific programs that are associated with the budget. Those programs are the Senior Meals and Bingo, Granite State Track and Field, Granite Kid Triathlon, Day Camp, Intro to Field Hockey, our fall and spring soccer programs, swim lessons, winter carnival races, and Big Air and Little Air. So those are all in your general fund. So money goes out for those programs and money comes in for those programs through the budget. The revolving funds was established, I believe, in 2016 to help with Parks and Rec with moving with the times. So people like pickleball, can we offer pickleball? And the way we can do that is by having a revolving fund. So it's money in, money out. So some of these programs are Fall Cornhole, Granite Man Triathlon, Learn to Play Pickleball, Lego Camp, Mahjong, which is a senior program, the Quilters Retreats, the Progressive Ski Dinner, our Babysitting Safe Sitter classes, our sailing program, Cornhole, we do a spring and fall one, Stacy Burns 5K, tennis lessons, and that's it. The golf camp, and some of these, like golf camp, what are the other? Quilters, we partner with organizations, so we might keep some of the money and they get some of the money, so it's a partnership, but we're getting revenue from it.
On any of these, does the administrative expense get taken out?
Yes.
So in other words, let's say you have fall cornhole, $300. How much did the general fund, was there administrative charge to that? So in other words, you didn't cover
So I put
your
it into the
time.
revolving, and then KC can actually take that money and put, if there's an administrative fee or whatever, but we just put it all into the revolving for now.
Okay, then this will go over to Casey. Do we have an administrative amount?
No, there are some programs where she charges the program a fee, but it stays in the revolving fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but all the programs that are in the revolving fund, there isn't a fee to cover our administrative fees?
There is not. That's correct.
That's something we may want to look at.
And these are gross dollars. You don't, this isn't net money, right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And I just put with it, just so you could see participants from this year. So, and this is for 2024. It could look different if we did a 2023, if we had an extra class or we didn't offer something for the revolving. One thing you won't see in here is last year we didn't offer swim team because we didn't have enough participants, so that wasn't in here. But we typically do offer that through the general fund.
Does anybody have any questions on this? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to put this and include this for the Budget Committee. You can either type it at the bottom of a page, or if you don't want to make their books too large. Okay, the next one I have is Abenaki. You want to kind of explain
Sure.
these?
So we just put all items that were associated with Abenaki in this budget. So these are revenues that we're collecting through the Abenaki budget. The first one is daily tickets, which is when they just pay daily for the tickets, not a season pass. So they're either paying that $10 or $20 fee, right? So that is that one. Then we have the season passes. Those are people who bought season passes. And then every time they come, we're typing in their season pass to know how many visits they had. Okay, so I'm hearing these are only season passes from January 1 to the present time, even though we might have taken some December because we opened December 26th, so that would be counted in 2023. So we're just counting, we just put in this from 2024 on. Ski rentals, we partner with Ski Works, and this is the money we took in, but we keep half and they get half. That's the partnership we have. So that's the total revenue we collected, but we only keep half of that. Concessions, I actually subtracted, is that the one? Yeah, I subtracted what we spent, so this is actually what we brought in for concessions. And then this is just showing the Big Air, Little Air Winter Carnival races. It goes into the general fund, but we associate it with Abenaki, so I just relisted it in there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that?
I do one. You netted down concessions here, but nowhere else you're netting down anything.
No,
Is that
it was
correct?
just that one because I guess I should have probably just showed the full amount.
Right,
So you
I
want me to
think-
change it? I
to
can.
be consistent.
Yes, I will. Can you just note that?
Okay. And the next one is Pop Whalen.
So the first line is the ice rental times, and that is actually like the school rentals. So we're talking about like Brewster, Kingswood, Back Bay, anybody who's renting a sheet of ice. That number could be a little off because it's money collected from January to now, but some of that January money actually belonged in 2023. It was billed in 2023, but it was just put in our system in 2024. Casey knows that, but I'm just showing you what, when we did our report, what it looked like.
All right.
Dasher banner sales. This is what we've collected so far. We still have more to collect, but that's where we're at. Winter programs, this would be your stick, public,
Stick practice?
yeah, stick practice in public, skate, resident and non-resident, and it also includes your skate rentals.
Oh, so you don't break skate rentals out?
We
You have
could, I could do a report for it separate, but this is just show, in the system, it all goes into one account, but we could.
Only reason I say that, we have ski rentals here.
Yeah, I could do that because I have a button, so you want me to break that out? I could break that out. Yes.
It would be consistent on what you're
Yes.
doing for the
Skate
different.
rentals, just break it out from the public. The spring and summer, fall programming, I do have to have a conversation with Casey about that. So one of the things is we had that pickleball rental, and I think we're trying to figure it out because it was miscategorized. It looks like it went into the winter rentals. Is that where did you find it? We're still trying to figure out where it went, but we need to show that it actually was a summer rental because it happened in September. So that was another, was it 35? 3,000. So that would be up. So we will fix that.
It's in the figures, you just need to move it
Yes,
to
we
the
need
right
to pull
place.
it, I think it's, I want to confirm where it exactly is before I pull it out of one of those and then just show it in the summer line. So we'll fix that.
It doesn't affect that bottom line.
No, it doesn't affect the bottom
No.
line, but it should showcase what we have for summer versus winter. And then we had the Pop Whalen room rentals and then Pop concessions, and that was the full amount for Pop? Yes, that was the full amount for Pop.
So this is a full month? This is gross amount, okay.
Okay, so on the concession stands, when do you run the concession stands? Do you have it open all the time? Are we running it, or was it divided between different groups last year?
Last year, I believe it was divided between different groups. This year, we are running it typically when we have public skate and when we stick practice and games, like if we have games scheduled. We start off slow in the beginning, so we don't have a lot of games yet, but when we have tournaments and games, we typically run the concessions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
And just a point of clarification, Christine. Yes. These revenues do not include the town purchase ice time, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
If this is, I'm just going back to the concession stand, the $4,560 is gross. There's still all the expenses of the food, so we don't make a huge amount of money on the concession stand. Okay.
And I think in the proposed budgets over the past couple of years, the estimated revenues total have been 6,000
So
for a
it's,
full year.
okay. Anybody? Any other questions? I think we're done.
We're not, though.
I think you wanted to revisit their 2 capital outlay. So they have capital outlay for a mower for $5,986.
We did that. I thought we did that the last time
They were going to come back with a little bit more information
on the mower.
on the mower and the courts. I think she's got something to speak to you about on the mower. She may not have a whole lot of more information on the courts.
Correct. You want to start with the mower? First, tell them to answer the question.
So I looked into the mower. I think you guys were asking about the lifespan of the mower. So the research that I did this week, it shows that these walk-behind mowers, John Deere commercial mowers, will last between 8 to 10 years. But when you're really looking at usage, you're going by hours and hours of usage. So these mowers typically last for 2,000 to 2,500 hours if maintained properly. And the mower also comes with a 2-year, 120-hour bumper-to-bumper warranty. So with that warranty in place for those first 2 years, we would bring that mower back to John Deere and have them service the mower, just go through it, make sure everything's running properly and nothing is broken.
And how many hours annually do you usually put on a mower? Well,
That's a good question. I don't have the answer for you right now. I would have to look at we have the same walk-behind mower that we're looking to purchase, so I could look at that and see roughly how many hours we put on it this summer.
So it's all cemeteries and the park facilities. You're out there once every 1 week, 2 weeks, roughly every couple of weeks?
They're on like a weekly rotation.
But you don't take that to all the cemeteries. Aren't there some? There's no way you're going to get, okay, that's all. And how many hours do you have and how old are the other one that you have?
Well, the newer walk-behind that we have is about a year old. I do not know how many hours we have on that current machine. It's mainly used at Pine Hill Cemetery. They do use it in other places, but mainly that is best for Pine Hill Cemetery, and they'll use it at some of the bigger parks, Cape Park, things like that. But when we're out mowing, say, Foss Field, they're on the zero turns. They do most of the work on those mowers and then weed trimming.
Okay. So that means you would have one, we buy a new mower 1 year and then another one. It seems like we want to spread these out a little further so they're on some kind of a rotation basis and then instead of one then the other.
That would be really nice to be able to do that. The unfortunate part is, I think the walk-behinds that they have now are failed, or if not failed, they're
Yeah, no, currently we have some older Toro residential mowers that are constantly in the shop breaking down. You know, every week another one's going back as we're picking up a different one. So these commercial mowers won't break down as much and they're a lot more efficient. They're a wider mow deck too, so you get more done and, you know, it's more efficient.
I think Christine's got a suggestion for you on it.
I do have 4 lines that have some money in it that wasn't spent this year that I do believe we could probably purchase out of this year's budget so we could remove it from next year.
Would that still, we've been doing some of that, would that still allow us to address non-union employees at the end?
Yes.
Okay. Board members, anybody have any comments?
Sorry about that.
Whoa, whoa.
I had to. Wow. I'm going to do it once, but I had to. I can't talk when it's up there. Question would be, I'm sure you can take these mowers and use them so that one gets used half as much as the other. And if you do that, you will be creating the rotation that Linda was talking about.
Correct.
Because if you use one, like if the one in the Pine Hill Cemetery only gets used a little bit, half as many hours as the other one, one will wear out halfway before the other. And then we can get on that rotation. So
Anybody else have any comments?
So a motion would be to remove this capital outlay from the 2025 budget. Is that a
Right,
motion?
let me make sure I've got okay from everybody. Is anybody, Brad?
Yeah, I think that sounds a good idea. Move it if she can afford it out of, out of this year's operating budget. Yeah, I'm on board with removing it from the capital outlay.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So now, Casey, what is
Does
the...
anybody would like to make a motion to remove $5,986 for the walk-behind mower from capital outlay?
Mr. Senical made that motion, and I'll second it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought I heard you make that motion.
Okay, I've got, Dave made the motion, Paul seconded it. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And that's taking it out of the 2024 budget,
Thank you.
all right?
And you guys will find it in the 24 budget.
And then the next one is the tennis basketball court maintenance.
Nothing.
Can you find that too?
We ain't got nothing.
So we
don't have
do have 2 calls and emails to the companies. Unfortunately, they did not get back to us. We did also reach out to Alton because we received that email last night that they had done their courts, but nobody was available to speak to us. So we have calls in, we're just waiting to hear back.
Board, what would you like to do? My feeling is leave it in. They'll get them, get some more information, and let the budget committee do what they want with it. And then if it gets kicked out, then we can have another conversation.
Do a warrant or something. Yeah, I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay?
Yep.
Now you're done.
Okay.
Now you're done.
Thank you.
So we'll put that on the revisit list just in case something happens with budget committee, correct?
Revisit.
We're in a December revisit.
Yep. Oh, yeah, no, I get that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
way down the line revisit, not right now.
Goodbye. Good night. Good.
Okay, so we've buttoned up Parks and Rec. I think one of the next items is the administrative allocations.
Sure.
Is that correct? I believe Casey had handed out a stapled sheet to you guys that lays out the 2025 budget.
I did not hand out anything tonight. It was the other night.
I'm talking about admin allocation. You passed that out the other night. Right.
Correct. And on the second page of that outlines the administrative allocations for the water,
It-
sewer, electric, and Pop Whalen. It shows you a slight change. She spoke to the formula the other night. And basically, we need you to motion to support these administrative allocation adjustments.
I'll make that motion.
Does anybody have any questions?
I made a motion.
I know.
Oh,
you-
you got a second?
I didn't call for it. I'll get to that, Paul, all right?
My motion's out of order.
Well, I need to ask whether anybody else has any questions. Everybody, they found their piece of paper, everybody comfortable with this?
Yep.
All right, Paul made a motion that we accept the allocations.
You.
I seconded it? Okay, second.
Okay, Paul made the motion to accept the administrative allocations. Brian seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
legal, the next one, Casey?
Yep, sure. I handed this out to you this evening, but I also emailed it to you, I don't know when, a few days ago, maybe. This is broken out by case, by account. Specifically, you were, I believe, looking at zoning, which is the second line item, number 321. And it did have a very large PO open, so I did decrease that down to $1,100 for the rest of the year. So this is more reflective of where we are today. and where we'll be at the end of the year, coming in at 98.7%. We could get slammed with some bills, but hopefully not. So.
And the prior year was, I think, yeah, there, 117, 188. So if we get 2-year contracts, we won't need negotiations next year.
Should not be in negotiations next year, that is correct.
That is correct.
However, if they were to fail.
I'm just,
Yep.
I'm playing, well, this could be this.
Yep, no.
What's the coalition, oh, is that group that is the,
For
For the-
SWEP,
for the?
state education.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
That's what that is. Bond council. The one I have the concern about, and it was the question I asked, was the zoning board of adjustment. And that's the only one I've got concerns about, whether we have enough in it. And they're over,
I think we can manage the budget in a way that if we have to make those adjustments, I think we'll be able to do that. The other thing that I think you'll see is there's been some pretty heavy expenses in one of the other departments this year.
The last one
The
on this
last
page.
one. That I think it's been an abnormal year there.
We hope.
That hopefully settles down.
And we are increasing the zoning one for 2025, while we're recommending 8,000 versus 5,000.
okay.
I'm good with it, too. Yeah.
I just wanted to check on that one.
I
That
think it's
was
a good conversation.
concerned about. So are we all comfortable leaving it as is? Anybody have any issue? Utility run?
All right, utilities. All right, so this is, sorry, it's a little small. It looks like this. I just handed it out to you tonight. This was prepared by the new finance director, Sam Kelly. The first 5 or 6 columns are right out of the budget report. And then on the right-hand side, what we've done is done a run rate, looking at some bills where, we got 8 months paid, some we only have 6 months paid. And so then she projected out where we'd be at the end of '24, and then we compared the projected '24 to the budget. So the right-hand column for general fund has us just under by $8,400, almost $8,500 for general fund. Overall, it doesn't look too alarming. It's a lot of numbers, so if you need to digest it, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. On the second page, I will tell you, it's the other utilities. I don't see anything alarming there other than in electric, it jumps off the page, but that's the purchased electricity, so it's a little bit different than electric bills. It's increasing.
So when you did the water and sewer, it was to date?
Yep.
Okay.
We did it, we ran in the report as of today, and then we went in and looked at and saw how many bills have actually been paid, which is like the third to the right column. Some say 9, 7, 8, 10, and then she would annualize the second to last column and tell you how much you were short or over.
Just that I heard correctly, Casey, so this report, these data are as of today?
That's correct.
Okay.
But as of today, would technically not be my electricity that I used through today because I might not have the bill yet.
Yeah, I got
Usually
it.
it's about a month.
Yeah, it's about a month behind.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And billing is telling me they're getting caught up, but I think they're still a little bit behind too, excuse me. So. I didn't see any big areas of concern, a couple thousand here and there, but it's very volatile, so it wasn't concerning to me.
So you're comfortable?
I am.
I'm comfortable. The problem was we were missing so many months to
Yep.
know whether
Yep.
what you did here, it was hard for us to do.
This took work, is a couple hours of work, but it's easy enough to do, so.
Yep. Am I correct, board members, are we comfortable with the utilities as they are?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't pass this one out because, as in the guidelines from the town manager, we will look at all the gas and fuel at the end, meaning like maybe December, January, the last possible minute. But I did take a look at it today, and we're about $7,000 short as of today. But it seems that gas is going down right now anyways. We're not in a contract with gas, so we're just going to watch that and see what happens. And we can pass this out at a regular board meeting in a month or two, but let's try to get through the fourth quarter. That's my recommendation.
And when you when you look at the amount, will you do an estimate over the year for some of the figures? Because right now, some of the prices are going down. They could shoot up again. So if you take it at the dip, so you must do some kind of a calculation, average?
So we try to keep them focused heavily on their usage, and we ask the department heads to please focus their usage and their expenses so that if they see that the usage is running high, that they need to take measures to be able to control where they're burning their fuel, which I know sometimes is a challenge, or to be able to find other areas within their own budget to absorb some of those fuel anomalies. And that's one of the weird parts as well, especially with the gasoline. We get a monthly rate with gasoline, propane, oil, and diesel are contracted, and they're contracted July 1 through June 30.
But yeah, we won't just take the last December bill and use that rate. We'll add some judgment, if it was 333,222, we'll decide it's 250 or something.
Okay, as long as
Yes.
when you see it go down, you don't want to take the low and then
No,
say,
we don't.
okay, there
No.
we are.
In our contracts for those other fuels other than gas, if there's a drastic fluctuation down, do they compensate us for that?
No, the only time that they have a change within our contract is if we go over our usage.
Okay.
So that's the way the contract is written. And actually, we were able to finally, this past year, because for a couple years, we would not get anybody to bid on heating fuel because it was so volatile. I think this year we actually locked the price in for heating fuel because it had finally stabilized to a point where they were willing to give us a fixed price.
The other thing to say is our contracts are all expire on June 30th. Nobody will lock into next winter season. So that is a 6-month of an unknown. So we're locked in till June of 2025.
Okay. Do you want to go over this, or do you want to talk about reevaluation?
So we can hit revaluation. So I was able to actually get some dialogue back from New Hampshire DRA today. I reached out earlier or late last week, earlier this week, I'm not even sure when, regarding what the path forward for reevaluation is. We are in year 5, going to be in year 5. We will be required to do a reevaluation. So when I reached out to them, I asked 3 specific questions. 1, should we put it in the operating budget? 2, should we create a warrant article to raise and appropriate funds for it? Or 3, should we write a warrant article utilizing unassigned fund balance? And the reason I asked that question is because that's how we did it in 2020. They responded back and they suggested that we do craft a warrant article, and the decision is really up to the board whether or not you should utilize raising taxes or unassigned fund balance. That's a policy decision for you guys to make. The major takeaway he had regarding the no means no end of this is, if we articulate very well through the warrant article and through our discussions at the deliberative session that the importance of this based on statutory guidelines of 75.8A, he believes that that's the best way to sell this. They could, New Hampshire DRA could ask to seek relief from the Board of Tax and Land Appeal, who has the authority to issue a court order to make us do the reevaluation. They'd really rather not do that. I would also say when we did this via warrant article in 2020, it was about 950 to 300 it passed through the warrant. So I would suggest at this point, where our budget is a high number, that we do not put this into the budget and we do it as a warrant article, but that's up for you guys to discuss.
Board members, my feeling is, I'll start us off, I'm comfortable putting it in a warrant article. I think it gives us an opportunity to speak to it, and we can decide whether we use unassigned fund balance or not.
Me too.
Can you send us a copy of that 2020 warrant article? I'd like to see the verbiage, because I know that DRA says that they want us to have the verbiage in the warrant article reflect its necessity.
Yep. I will get that forwarded off to you.
Brad?
Yeah, when I read those emails that Jim sent us, same idea. Like, I think the best way is to do it is in a warrant article. Gives us the opportunity to, present it separately and also put the explanation in on the warrant so they can read it in the booth and stuff if the voters don't happen to attend a deliberative session or see the information coming out in the paper and however other ways around and stuff. So it's in front of them in the booth too. So I think I would support going that route.
Dave?
I'd support the warrant article.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we put the revaluation figure as presented as a warrant article for the 2025 warrants.
Second?
I don't think you need the amount in it right now, do you? No.
Nope.
Okay, so I have a motion by Brad, a second by Dave, to put the reevaluation out as a warrant article. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, all in favor. All righty. And then I think you have some budget analysis and figures of where we are.
Okay, so I believe the last document that we have not gone over is a summary that I've done for the last 4 years. On page 2, if you'll just look at that first, these were the motions that you made. Did you not get one? I'll get back to you. Page 2, this is what I call entries. These are all the motions you made. Looks like a lot, but when you zero it out, Libby, it just happened to touch a lot of accounts. And then on the bottom, I assumed you would make those motions. Those were all the admin allocations for water, electric, sewer, and pump whaling. So I already factored those numbers into the account. And then on the front page, today, before you walked into the meeting, this is what it was. The only change you've made is reduce it by $5,986. If there's no more revisits or any changes that you want to make to the budget, the operating budget going forward by this board would be $36,372,472, which is the bottom right, almost bottom number, minus that 5,986.
What was the net again?
Sure. 36,372,472, period.
And that's after the 55986 is taken out. Thank you.
I do not have any other comments on it. If you have any questions, Jim or I would be happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Any comments? Boy, we're quiet tonight.
It was just a question from my own
It's the baseball game.
curious interest. If you look at this budget of 36 plus, the question I asked of Casey, and it sounds like I'll even use the word fixed cost, our run rate of costs that are in there is roughly, what do you think, Casey, 80 to 90% of the budget?
Yes.
So if you take that 80 to 90% of the 36, take 10% of 36 million, you got 3.6 million of discretion. Everything else is pretty much, if you assume headcount is fixed, everything else is pretty much fixed. It means that, Steve and Parks and Rec only get a little bit of discretion, cops and fire department, very little discretion in that budget, unless you go to the capital route. It's just what is. Right? Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any comment? So then on Wednesday, next Wednesday, you'll have it and we will vote then, or do you want us to vote now?
It's your discretion. You can vote now. You can vote next Wednesday. The one thing that I would say is we plan on initiating, getting the books rolling in the next couple of days.
Board members,
Budget committee.
you want to wait?
Yeah, this is a pretty important document, and I'd just like to get it, make it reflect what this one. I just want to make it reflect, or have it reflect what we've discussed so that we can vote on that document, and there's no handwritten stuff on it. That would be my.
Okay.
Can I just
I
ask?
mean, I'm one person of a
Well,
million.
yeah, I know, I'm going to.
one of a million.
I'm going to ask, I'm just trying to figure out what isn't here. You're going to add language, or you've scribbled on yours and you want to
No,
have a clean copy? I'm
I
not
wanna
quite
vote
sure.
I want to vote on a piece of paper like this that has no strikeouts, and the strikeouts are, we pulled out $5,900 and changed the.
Oh, okay,
bottom
you
line.
just, okay.
Yeah,
All right, that's what you're looking at. Okay,
You okay?
yep, gotcha. Does people understand what he,
You understand that dribble I just did?
So there's no need for department heads to come for any
No.
revisits or anything? You just want a formal motion with a clean document in your packet for the 6th?
and we get a date on it and we can refer to it as of that date,
Sure.
okay?
Yep.
But let me check with everybody
Okay.
else.
Yep.
Brian, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm just doing some numbers. So it looks like we're 2.7 million over our default budget of last year and 2.1 million over our proposed budget of 2024. Is that about right?
What was the second number you said?
2.1?
2.1.
2.1. No, the 2.7 is in the middle of the page there,
Yep.
under BOS approved.
Yep,
2.7 is what you've increased year over year, and then it's just another 300,000, 333, because you had no capital outlay last year.
Right.
So you've increased the budget, 3 million, the budget is increased, excuse me, 3,071,673. Couple of the big drivers are the bond payment for the public safety building, and it's escaping me, what's the second
The
thing?
ambulance
Ambulance
contract.
contract.
and we probably should have those listed out.
We'll put together a driver sheet for you like we traditionally try to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it was
So-
part of the guidelines, but we'll brush it off and put it with our November 6th agenda item.
Part of the whole thing, so we have one document
And
that
I
has
think
it
what we'll do
all.
with that as well is we will tie in what the capital outlay items are for that, so you
Yeah,
can see
I
it.
agree. I agree that it's helpful. It's basically saying the growth of the budget is, this old argument. We already said yes 2 years ago to what we're facing here. So the amount of discretion now is even, is that bond payment in your mental calculation, was that in the 80 or 90%?
Yes,
Okay, all right. I was going to say it would make it even worse, or better, whatever your perspective is.
because we can't get out of it now.
There's
We
very
don't
little
have the
wiggle
money.
room. Well, there's very
Especially
little-
since the
my point is,
building's
there's very
up.
little wiggle room for the departments to, it's tight.
Yeah, and I
I guess
think,
the word tight is probably an appropriate word.
yeah, and the 2024 budget, we took 600,000 out of that. I mean, we took a big cut.
Yeah, you guys took 3, I took 3, and I think the budget committee took about 80.
Yeah, so there was a
We made
huge
cuts
amount
last
of,
year.
And that might be interesting to have that also on the sheet of where that budget was and what we cut out of that amount, out of that budget, where it started and what we cut. Because we may, at some point, when we talk to people, that's I think, a very important piece of why we are where we are today. Dave, are you all right waiting for Brad?
Yeah, I think I'm all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should have the comparison because that will make a big difference in what the numbers actually show. And I think people need to know that, what was taken out and how much,
Yep,
and how much the budget committee took out,
yep,
which wasn't much because there wasn't much left to take out.
correct.
Is that last piece for your agenda next week?
I think I guess and I'll ask the other ones, it's just kind of that packet that I can have at my fingertips.
Yep.
When I get asked a question from somebody and say, well, let me give you an explanation of why where we went from what we had submitted in 2024 and where we are in the 2025.
Yeah, that's simply a matter of pulling together some data points from previous presentations, putting them into a new one, and just cleaning it up a little bit.
Yeah. So we have a sheet with all those things behind it, and we can have it.
Wait,
Is there anything else anybody else wants for November 6th?
no, I'm all set.
But did you want me to make a motion to adjourn? Is that what you were saying?
No, I wasn't saying that.
I guess Paul wants to run the meeting tonight.
And just so you know as well, the 2020 warrant article for municipal reevaluation, Article 13, is in your inboxes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Wow,
all right.
wait.
Is there any other business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All right.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Dave, second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right,
We're done.
that's very good, boys.
Is that quick enough, Tim?